Okay, so here we are. We're back again.
Hello.
Good morning.
Hello, hello. Everyone, say hi. Say hi to all of
Hi.
our texters out there. Uh,
Hello.
this is Emily. We're gonna be introducing you momentarily, and of course Jacqueline, who everyone can see how great she looks.
Thank you.
Because these beautiful ladies, are both on the program. Am I allowed to say beautiful ladies these days anymore?
I think so.
Am I making a target out of myself?
I won't turn it down.
Okay, good. Emily, have I offended you?
Pardon me?
Have I offended you?
Offended me? No.
Yes. Okay, good.
Called you beautiful.
I'm making sure. I don't know what I can say anymore, right? Um, but
It's true.
we weren't here last week. Last week it was Yom Kippur, so I was atoning, and I don't want to tell you what I had to do to atone, but it was very painful, and I really went deep. That's all I'll say. Actually, I'm joking. I atoned in a relatively in a relatively mellow way, but it was Yom Kippur, and that is the Day of Atonement. So it was an important day. As you know, Jackie, Sandy Koufax did not pitch in the World Series. I
Not
told
pitching
you,
the World Series, so you have to.
so that's why I missed. Yes. If anyone is joining us today, so we are with Emily. Emily is one of my favorite clients. She has done remarkably well, and she has a lot to say. I asked her to come on. Um, Emily has been a relatively slow loser. She's been a slow loser, so we're going to talk about that, what that means, and how to deal with that, right? Because this becomes a mental game after a while. We help people take care of their physiological issues. We also try to help with the emotional stuff
Mhm.
comes with weight loss. And anyone who's done a weight loss program knows that there are plateaus sometimes, and it could really wreak havoc on your self esteem and your stability. And
Absolutely.
if you don't understand what's going on, you could find yourself in a rubber room doing this. Okay, so Emily,
Yes.
welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
I'm glad you're with
Thank
us.
you. Yeah, we're glad to have you. Emily, you're always so positive. You always say so many nice things, and we're going to get into that in a bit. But first, tell me this. What led you to come in to us?
Well, I had it with my weight. Um, I just felt like I needed to go into a bigger size, and I had already was wearing a size 20, and I said, I'm not going to a bigger size. I'm done. And so I had not been on a scale in probably since the pandemic.
Hmm.
And I didn't want to get on the scale because I didn't want to face the music. But the day that I made my decision and got on the scale, I was blown away by my weight on the scale and said, okay, I'm done. And that's when I called Tech.
Okay, got it. And when you came in to see us, Emily, what did you discover something that you didn't know before? I mean, what made you say, okay, this is the right place for me?
Well, I knew that sending you my weight every morning would be something that would keep me on track,
Hmm.
because I knew that if I didn't have to send you my weight every morning, I'd be cheating during the week. So sending you my weight every morning has kept me true to this lifestyle, and I have not once eaten anything that I shouldn't have. I think maybe one time you told me that I shouldn't be eating my fruit after a meal, and that was the only thing that I had done wrong.
Yeah.
So,
So
yeah.
you've done very well. By the way, if anyone has any questions for Emily, please don't hesitate. Write your questions. I will read them to her. Jackie, that goes for you too. Write your questions down,
You got it.
and then we will make sure that we ask Emily. So, Emily, tell us what day you're on in the program and how much weight you've lost.
I believe I'm on day 43 and I've lost 15 pounds.
15 pounds. Now, uh, you are what is considered on our program a relatively slow loser.
Hmm.
And yet,
But I'm a winner in your book.
Absolutely.
I think you're a winner in life in general. But also from what you've told me, I think you're winning on the program. And we're going to talk about, what it's like for people who tend to lose more slowly than others, what it might mean, right? Because this is one of the places where people, again, make themselves crazy. So besides the 15 pounds, what else has improved in your life during these 43 days?
I am sleeping better. In the past, I was only sleeping 4 or 5 hours. If I would get up to urinate in the middle of the night, I could not fall back to sleep. I was done. But I refused to take a nap because that only made it worse in the evening. So the fact that I'm now sleeping 8 to 9 hours is remarkable.
You're a teenager.
Yep, yep, yep. And
Okay.
and if I do get up to go to the bathroom, I can fall right back to sleep again with no problem, which is
Right.
really a big deal.
Yeah. And what about your energy level, Emily?
Well, my energy level, I didn't think I had poor energy until I went on this, got onto this lifestyle, and now I'm finding that I'm full of energy. I'm much more so than prior to starting this.
Got it. So, could you put a percentage on it? Is it 10% better, 50%? Where would you say?
I would say 30% better, definitely.
30% better. We'll certainly take that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about the weight loss itself, because as everyone knows, this is a process. The way human beings are, the way we all are, our attention spans are very slow, are very small. And we all want instant results. And
Right.
we don't see that sometimes. We don't respond very well. Of course, rationally, we know that we're not going to lose 20 pounds in a day and a half. But as we're going through the process, it can be tough, especially when there are plateaus. So, what has your experience been like with that, with seeing that your weight loss has not been what you expected it to be?
Well, in the past, if I would have only lost 15 pounds in 43 days after being so perfect, I probably would. I know that I have in the past just thrown in the towel and said, I'm
Hmm.
done. I'm not, this isn't working. It's not for me. And I'm quitting. Why am I depriving myself? That would be
Right.
my mindset prior. But you have taken the time to explain to me that it's not all about weight loss. It's about inches. It's about feeling better. It's about so many more things than just the weight loss. And to be honest with you, was wearing a size 20. I'm now wearing a size 16. There is no way under normal circumstances losing 15 pounds would make you move 2 sizes.
Hmm.
So
What does that mean to you?
that means a lot to me because I don't really care what the scale says anymore. The reason why I started this was because I didn't want to buy a bigger size. So losing going down 2 sizes to me is remarkable.
Absolutely.
Hey, can I ask both of you a question? I don't know if you're aware of this, but men don't understand women's sizes for the most part.
Neither do we, so it's okay.
What'd you say?
Said either do we, so it's okay.
Oh, is that right?
Size makes no sense for women.
Yeah,
Well,
we just don't understand you people. But tell me this, Jackie, what is it? 2 sizes. What does that mean inch-wise? Like, what could we equate that to?
It's tough. It's very tough to say. So after doing the program from the first time, I was still wearing the so-called size medium, size 10. Sometimes when I was feeling fuller and putting on weight, size 12. I could drop down, and honestly, it could be a good, easily 6 inches on me because I carry it. I'm more of like I guess more of an hourglass, but a little bit more hair heavy on the bottom. So from my hips down, I would carry it below. If on our program, like now, for example, I'm down close to 17 pounds. 17 pounds, and now my standard size medium, it's probably about 4 to 5 inches too big on my hips.
Hmm.
So 5 inches, I mean, in retrospect, 5 inches, give or take, it's a lot.
Yeah.
It is a lot. It is a lot.
In that one spot. So if I'm standing in the mirror and like visually, and then I'm measuring my waist, and I'm like, oh, there's no adjusting my shirt anymore. So that also is just laying flat. There's no, it just, the fat, you know, it just goes.
Yeah, I want to delve into this a little bit because again, this comes up for people, and it's a bit of a very trippy kind of a mind thing that happens because all we've ever heard is that we need to lose weight, that people are overweight, and yet weight really has nothing to do with body shape, body size, body style.
100%.
Weight, the definition of weight, and we talk about this. We talk about this a lot, right? The definition of weight is how much gravity are you putting against the earth.
Correct.
That's what weight measures.
Mhm.
And it's possible to lose weight by losing the wrong stuff, right? By losing water, by losing muscle.
Mhm.
What I think Emily's describing, what about a lot of our clients say is, I don't understand how I'm fitting into this size at my current weight.
Correct.
But what happens in the focus on this program is that you lose fat.
Right.
Losing fat as weight is very different than losing water as weight, than losing muscle as weight. And the effects are really profound. Jack?
Do we have your fat mold there, Dr.?
Well,
I don't.
correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't a pound of fat take up more space than a pound of muscle?
Totally. Yeah. So muscle is denser than fat. And I think the ratio is 3 to 1. I think I think per like square inch, muscle weighs 3 times more than fat. And so that's why you have bodybuilders and you have linebackers who you look at them, they look like Adonis, right? They don't have an ounce of fat on them, but
Mhm.
very heavy. They weigh a lot. Conversely, you have some people who are kind of skinny fat, right? They have a lot of fat. They don't have a lot of muscle. They don't weigh that much, but yet they're over fat. And this is where our focus needs to be. But because of the confusion about what we call it, about just the term itself, our focus is always on the weight.
Exactly. And I think that's one of the biggest contributing factors to people failing, because in general, like for myself, but I'm sorry if you hear an echo, because I hear an echo in myself.
I hear an echo. I
Hear an echo.
can only deal with one Jackie at a time. I'm hearing three.
I'm way
This is
too much. I
overwhelming.
can't handle more than one of me either, so it's too much. But for myself, I'm not concerned about the number on the scale anymore. But it's funny, it's the easiest way to explain it. If I'm having a conversation with someone and they're like, oh, what's going on? What did you, oh, no, I have to go on a diet, or I have to get myself back in check. I have to lose 20 pounds. I have to drop 20 pounds. It's the first thing that I say.
Of course.
Because I'm associating the 20, 30 pounds with how I'm going to look and feel.
Right.
Whereas you and I have had many conversations recently, Dr. R, where my mindset is completely different. Although this was always a priority to me, my priorities have changed in terms of what should be first and last. And it's more about my feel. So
Right.
I want to not just feel healthy, look great. I want to be healthy inside out and look great. So
And that's the right focus. And we'll get into that in a minute. But what I want to know from Emily is this. Emily, everyone expects weight loss to be kind of linear and consistent, right? You want to get on the scale every day. You want to see it drop every day. The tendency is when the scale drops, you're happy. If it doesn't drop, you're not happy. And then you start going into this whole kind of a dramatization about, I'm putting in all this effort, I'm sacrificing, I'm depriving myself, right?
keyword.
And a person can quit. People can quit on a good path because of that. So we have had these conversations as you've plateaued, and what have you learned such that you've decided to continue on this journey?
Well, you have explained to me all of what you just said, how, if the water, my scale gives me the measurements for my muscle mass, my water, my fat. It's not just weight. My scale tells me all those numbers. And when I see my scale go up a little or even down just a little bit, and I look at those other numbers and I see that my water is going up and my fat is going down, that excites me more than the number on the scale, because I know that that's what's causing me to get all these inches off.
Mm.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
So
And
that
it's
for,
much-
lately, that's been my motivation. I don't even look at the number on the scale. I look to see, did my fat go down? Did my water go up?
Yeah, but it's taken a while though to get to that place where you fully understand it because of what we were just talking about. And I feel like there are some people who still don't have this distinction. Like they think, all weight loss is the same. Here's an example that I would use. Let's say that someone was in an accident and they lost 10 pounds of blood. If they're just looking at weight, they're thrilled. They're bleeding out, but they're thrilled because the scale is less. And then they were to get a transfusion, a blood transfusion, and now all of a sudden the scale is going up. Well, that's a very good thing in my estimation,
Right.
even though the scale is going up. It's the same thing with hydration. There is no such thing as health. There's no such thing as having energy or metabolism if you're not hydrated.
Correct.
So when you're getting hydrated, as the water is going up, even if you're burning fat, the scale, right, might kind of like look like you're not losing anything because it doesn't take that into account unless you have a body composition monitor, which is what you're describing.
Right. Right.
Okay, good. You've also been very overly complimentary, I think, to me for helping you. This is my job.
Right. But I think that you're like over the top helping. Like you're probably the best thing that has ever happened as far, I've tried.
You're the only woman that's ever said that to me.
I have tried, seriously, I've tried Weight Watchers, Nutrisystem, Jenny Craig, and the shots from a doctor. And nobody has ever taken the time to explain what you've explained to me. Because in the past, it's always been about that number on the scale. And so once you taught me about the fat and the water and the muscle mass, I'm like, well, why didn't anybody ever explain this to me? It makes so much more sense. Yeah. That's why my scale's not moving. But I'm not, look at me. I've lost a ton of inches.
Yeah.
It just absolutely amazes me.
It's really,
and people are noticing. Nobody notices when you're heavy that you've lost 15 pounds. Nobody notices that.
It's wonderful. And what you're describing, and I think people kind of underplay this, is the importance of understanding. And this is why it's very important to have somebody who's not you explaining things to you.
Oh, of course.
Our perspective is sometimes so narrow. It's we tend to be really myopic, and to have someone else to explain what things mean, I think is really very valuable. And if anyone's listening, if you can think back to a time where something suddenly occurred to you, right? Something was explained in a different way, where you had a new understanding, and the rush that comes from that, like the eureka moment that now I get it, now it makes sense. Emily, you've been on a weight loss journey for many, many years.
Right.
And nobody's ever taken the time to explain these pretty fundamental things to you.
That's right. And so therefore, when I was doing everything I could possibly do and not cheating on other diets, and the scale's not going down, it's going up and down and up and down every day, and it's not really moving, you want to just give it up. Listen, losing weight is a mind thing. It's not what's going in here, it's what's going on up here.
Right.
Absolutely.
And so therefore, that's what was going on in my head. Like, why is this happening? I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. Weight Watchers, Jenny Craig, Nutrisystem, eating their food, and still it ain't happening.
And the frustration, and it's like, why God, why have you forsaken me? I mean, we just go through all
Exactly.
the histrionics.
The weight goes on so much easier than coming off until our program.
and it's generally more fun to do, right?
Yeah, and then I've had people tell me, "Well, you must be eating something you're not supposed to," and that wasn't true. Do you know
No.
what that does to your heart and
Mm.
your head?
You've had, in other words, you've had people who you've hired, like weight loss professionals, people at Jenny Craig or Weight Watchers, say that to you. They made you wrong in that way.
Yeah, they make you feel like you're doing something behind their back, and that it's not them, it's me.
Right,
And
like
it,
it must be.
and it
Right?
wasn't me. It wasn't me. And I was following their program, eating their stupid food, and still the scale's not moving, or it would move very slowly, and it was disheartening.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I get it.
and the interest weren't coming off. So I wasn't noticing any difference except that the scale wasn't moving.
Yeah. And one of the best parts is we do have, for the program you signed up for, there's a 20-pound guarantee. So I still owe you, those 5 pounds. And in this game, almost no one is accountable in that kind of way.
That's right.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever guaranteed that, ever.
Right. And we do guarantee it like just as the weight number, even though we should guarantee it as a percentage of fat, but whatever. Now, I do want people to understand, because one of the things we're talking about with this change of information, right, with this new understanding is a transformation that takes place. And this is the place that I want all my clients to get to. And it's not easy because we're going against years of exactly the kind of conditioning we're discussing right now. But I've said to you, and Jackie, I've told you the story of Ted Williams to try to make this point. And I know I've said this to you, Emily Myers. Most people are very interested in the scale, and they're very bored by the process.
Sure.
The transition that I want people to get to is, first of all, I want the GPS set on health more than on weight loss and more than on that number.
Yeah.
And second of all, I want people, to the degree that they can, to surrender to and enjoy the process. I do the worrying. I've told you this, Emily. I forbid you to think. You're not allowed to worry. That's why you pay me. And
Yes, you did.
to enjoy your life, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, are you prepared to do that? Are you prepared to let me do the worrying for you and forego all worrying from here on in throughout the rest of your life?
Yes, because in the beginning I wasn't sure. And so I was still focused on that number on the scale, and that was like bothering me. And at one point, I think you even said to me, maybe you shouldn't get on the scale every day. And I said, no, I still want to get on the scale every day because I wanted to report that to you every day.
Right.
But as we were going along, and you explained to me, it's not always the number on the scale. It's and when I started using my phone and the scale together, I had the scale is Bluetooth.
Right.
So then I began to see the fat and the water, what you see when I come into the office. I wasn't seeing that except when I was in the office. But once I got my phone hooked up to my scale and I was able to see all of those numbers, then I started to get excited because I could see the water was going up and the fat was going down, even though the number on the scale was staying the same or going up and down a little bit each day. That was a motivator to me.
Yeah.
It's definitely a positive reinforcement.
Right. And your explanations, I mean, seriously, you're like over the top with analogies and explanations, and it just makes so much sense.
Thank you. I've had to develop these tools. I mean, first to myself because I've gone through the process, right? But also because there's this crazy concept of meaning. What does something mean? Unfortunately, human beings tend to have this place that they go to, right? The most negative place possible. I'm not losing weight. I can't do this. I'm a loser. Nothing ever works right for me. I know that people, in the absence of the correct information, I know that they go there.
Right. I've
Every-
been there.
right.
I think if I could just so a lot of you're saying like you want people to enjoy the process, and I think that when people come to a point where they feel they have to lose weight or make a change for their health for the better, it almost feels like it's a punishment, not that they're doing something to better themselves. And they're upset that they got to the point they're at. They're upset that they have to do something about it that's going to stop them from their regular routine or their habits or things that they're enjoying because they feel like they're taking away and they won't have enjoyment.
Yeah.
I think that when you say enjoy the process, I think if they embrace what they're doing and realize that's for such a short stint of time with guaranteed results, that this is all a temporary. It's not a Band-Aid how it used to be. And with real results, it's easy to turn that around. It's easy to feel positive. It's easier to say, oh my gosh, I feel good. I see the difference. It's happening every single day, no matter what I do. It's a lot easier for them to stay committed than it would be if there was no end date in sight, if there was no target, if there were no check marks being checked every day. So embracing it is different than enjoying the process.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
I'd like to ask a question, though, to kind of introduce a related topic. Just it sounds like it's out of the blue. Both of you, Jackie and Emily, if you could give an individual any gift in the world, what gift would you give?
A gift?
Yeah.
I know. Anything, right?
Anything in the world. Jackie, what gift? What would you grant people? You'd give people the gift of time. Okay, good. Emily, what gift would you give to people?
Love.
The gift of love. That's a good one. I mean, depending on the context. So
You said anything.
well, ho! This is a family live we're doing here, but I think for me it would be the gift of faith. I think any endeavor at some level is a test of faith. Uh, Faith is belief in things not yet seen, right? And and we tend to question things. And if there was just enough faith to say, well, if I do this long enough, if I persist, regardless of the results I'm seeing now, it's going to happen. It must happen. I'm on the right path regardless. That is a hard place to get to. I think to some degree, most of us are suffering from a crisis of faith. And that's what I would grant people. Jackie, well, but Emily first, actually. So when you say love, how would you define that? If you're going to give the gift of love, what does that mean? Why is that the gift you would give?
Kindness, caring, generosity, compliments.
Okay.
But if you're giving away faith, then you better give away patience as well.
Yeah, I kind of think it goes hand in hand. Right? If
right.
you have faith, then you're probably more likely to be patient.
Right.
And it goes to intention also, right? And that's why I was talking about that transformation. Because if your intention is to lose weight and you have a gun at your head, you don't want to, right? You don't want to get healthy. You just want to get out of that momentary pain that you're in. Then you're looking at the scale like this.
Right.
Damn it, right? So it goes to intention. Now, it's a very hard thing to get a person. It's hard to get ourselves to go from that place of wanting an immediate result to having a long-term, pure kind of intention.
Mm-hmm.
But
right.
You would give people the gift of time.
Yes.
And why is that?
Time's a funny thing. It's something none of us have enough of.
Have it.
Well, we have it, but it's not genuinely used or maximized on. It's something that will always go back. We can never get it back. And I think a lot of time is wasted on waiting for the right time, waiting to do something better, waiting to be better, waiting for a sign. We're all waiting, and time just continues to pass. We're not embracing the opportunity that there's signs there are opportunities given to us every day, all day, in so many different ways. And a lot of us are not open enough because we're always rushing against the clock. We always have somewhere to be, something better to do. This is not the right time. This is not the right moment. Maybe tomorrow. We always assume there's tomorrow. And I just don't think anyone has enough time or places enough value on time.
Yeah. I will agree with you. I mean, it is such a confounding factor, right? Because on the one hand, we don't always act with appropriate urgency because there's an assumption that we have plenty of time.
Absolutely.
On the other hand, we're always running around frantic because we assume that we don't have enough time.
You don't have time, but you have it. You're wasting it.
Yeah. It's a hard thing to master, isn't it? Yeah. I want to let's just move a little bit to a different topic. Emily, you have been so incredibly complimentary, so good for my ego. You say nice things to me all the time.
Emily, you're making it hard for us.
Yeah, no, my staff is not happy about that. The head kid, right? If I ever start believing it, I'll be insufferable. But and one of our first conversations, I mean, we had the consultation, but then shortly after that, you read the book that I wrote called Keep Up,
Oh, yes.
right? Because this is one of the biggest problems that people have, and you got a lot out of the book, and you said some wonderful things to me. I mean, and from what you described, you had some epiphanies.
Right. So, my problem in the past, if I did stick to it and lose the weight, I could not maintain my weight. And so what would happen is, see, I never had a weight problem until I went through the menopause. And then all of a sudden, my body just puffed out. Everything that I ate went to my belly and my butt. And so I was a skinny person all of my adult life until menopause. And I could eat whatever I want and never gain the weight. So I would lose the weight. And then my mindset would be, okay, I'm skinny now. I got it off. Now I can go back and eat the way I used to eat. And it didn't work. And I'd put the weight on slowly, but surely it would pile back on again. So I've yo-yoed since menopause. And because nobody or nowhere that I've gone had made any sense of maintenance. And let's face it, if Weight Watchers and all those other weight professionals, if you lost your weight and kept it off, they'd go out of business eventually. And so that they don't really have a maintenance program. So when you gave me your book and I read it, and I was like, wow. I mean, I had like light bulbs going off like crazy in that reading that book. Because your analogies and the way you explain it in that book is just incredible. Seriously, Dr. Dave, I'm not kidding you. It is the best book I've read. It should be a bestseller for people who are trying to lose weight.
From your mouth to God's ears, and that is a plan that I have. Right now, it's currently free of charge for download on my website. I don't want it to be like that. I want people to value it. Like you have, and generally people value what they pay money for. So I do want it to be sold. I do want to have it published, possibly self-publish it first. But I want, everyone reading it.
They should read it. If you're let me say something. If you are on this program or any program and you're watching this right now, you need to read that book, because when you get to your goal weight, it'll make so much sense. It'll help you stay where you are, and you'll understand the whole process of maintaining your weight.
Right. And thank you so much for saying that. It thrills me. I told you this when you said all these nice things to me on the phone. People want their creations to be appreciated, right?
Right.
We're proud of that which they create. Jackie and her children. It's disgusting. I mean, the way she about them. But this is my creation, and for you to get something out of it, for me, is thrilling. So thank you for that.
But I've told you this before though. It's a light read, and it hits on every part of the struggle. And it's one of those things that it makes it just seem it's more attainable to be healthy.
It's more attainable, right? There's something about that, to have a realization that yes, I can do it now that I have this new understanding, right?
Exactly. It's not a short read that's full of fluff either. It's almost like we're having this conversation. It's very natural. It's organic. It's one of those things that it's like, I can do this. This really is an option for me.
Yes.
This hit rock bottom.
But here's what I want to say though. So the key is, I mean, you've given me credit for it, but the key is, one of the first things you said is that I read the book. We did a scientific study, and people who read the book got much more out of the book than the people who thought about reading the book.
Exactly.
Right? Or the people who downloaded and put it aside. So I've started to say to people, okay, I want your word right now that you will read 7 pages tonight. 7 short pages, double spaced. I mean, anyone could do that, right? And when people do that, generally they get into it, or they get something out of that. But it's this goes back to how overwhelmed we are with information, and people don't want to read too much anymore. So that's why we need a good audio book.
Yes.
Right?
It's a very easy. Dr. R, you're very well aware of my chaotic schedule, and it took me 2 days, and it was not. We're talking about a night read.
Yes.
2 nights in a row. I did it in between a practice, in between Isabella and Giovanni's practices. I was done within 2 days.
Right. But we still need the audio book. I think either Kevin Costner or Morgan Freeman should.
Morgan Freeman for sure. That voice.
Like Morgan Freeman's voice.
I do.
It'll be very dramatic. We can have you do it, and everyone from Bensonhurst and Bay Ridge will listen.
Absolutely.
In the Midwest, they won't know what the hell you're talking about.
They're like, what? I'm going to have to pay them to download it.
All right. So
I dropped the link below in the comments, by the way.
Yes, thank you for that. Yeah. So as much fun as this is, we have to wind up right now. Emily, thank you again for coming on. And
you're welcome.
And we're going to continue on the journey with you. Question before we let you go. What is it that you would want to impart to somebody who is like you?
I would say stick with it. Don't get so upset with that scale. Try to find a scale that gives you the numbers of water, muscle, and fat, and just keep sticking with it, because it really and truly works. It's absolutely amazing. And this guy right here is the best that there is in the weight loss. I'm not kidding you. I've had so many people in my past, and nobody ever has explained things the way he has. He is absolutely the best. And if you're not on this program, you need to be on it.
Oh, now I can retire.
That's it.
This is going.
Wait, I mean, are you looking for a job? I can.
Yeah, this is or money or cash. Listen, this is going on the website. Like this is the website right now. The website is just you saying this, and everything else is just fluff.
This will be recorded. This will be the recording.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. No.
But I say it in all sincerity. I mean, seriously. You have been absolutely amazing.
Thank you. And in all sincerity, it's my pleasure. And the thing is, I mean, my job is to look for solutions. And when the pandemic hit, it was pretty obvious that it was going to mess people up in certain ways. We didn't know what exactly that was, but anyone who was thinking knew, this is going to be a problem. And when we started looking and speaking to folks, first of all, a lot of people were gained weight. A lot of people complained that they couldn't keep it off. And mentally, everyone is in a different place now.
Yeah.
The analogy that I've used is that the snow globe has been shaken up, and we're all in the snow globe. So we started creating materials. The Keeping It Off book. I have some mindset materials. I have to try to find solutions for people. It's not easy because of, again, the world we're living in, but we need some good, workable solutions. And so I'll continue to try to do that.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much for everything that you do.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Everyone, listen, have a great day and find someone like Emily who will say nice things to
Everyone
you.
needs an Emily.
Yeah. Why don't we'll just have a recording of Emily and we'll take out my name and then we'll just edit in your name, whoever this is, just contact us and we'll do
Exactly.
that. We'll feel great about yourself.
I like that.
So,
That's a good idea.
Yeah, but you know what I think really helps? That you have been on this journey, doctor.
I
You've
still
done
am,
this.
Emily.
Yeah.
So the journey is one of health and it's not a destination. It is a journey, and this is why we talk about it like a journey, because as soon as we think we have one thing licked,
Oh yeah.
then other things pop up.
Always.
Right.
And that presumably is what would happen on a long journey, right? I mean, if we had to try to go to California on horseback,
Right.
we would get past a bad weather day, and suddenly we'd be hit with an earthquake. I mean, that's life. There's always going to be those barriers that have to be overcome. So
Absolutely.
yes. Yeah. All right. So listen, let's say goodbye to everyone. We'll see everyone next week. Download the book if you have not, and read it. And I'd love to hear your feedback as well.
Sounds
Bye-bye.
good. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Emily.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.